Hey everybody, welcome back to The Stuff of Legend. My name is D-Lo, and I've got another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be talking about the box office giant that is Spider-Man Far From Home. When I say that, I mean that it's growing into a giant. It has had some massive success, starting out at a very unusual, typically unopportune time. However, I think this is going to pan out very well for the film. We're going to take a look at how it compares to some of the other films that are like it, such as the other Spider-Man films that have come out thus far. So, that being said, I want to jump right in and I want to talk with you guys. We're going to look at a CNN article. We're going to look at Box Office Mojo, and I'm going to be able to walk with you guys through some of the data that we're looking at. Very unusual movie coming out on a Tuesday, but it was able to break some records, and we're going to talk about those as well. So, again, let me reiterate, no spoilers will be discussed about the film. I have seen the film. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fantastic. It is my favorite Spider-Man movie to date. I love this movie. But we're not going to be talking about the movie. We're not going to be talking about details. We're going to be talking about the business side of this, talking about the box office success and where I think this is going to lead this film and the impact it'll have like on the MCU and with Marvel and that kind of thing. So let's go ahead, not waste any more time, and jump right into it. So first up, I want to show you guys this CNN business article. Spider-Man Far From Home blows away box office expectations. It says here from CNN, Spider-Man Far From Home has made an estimated $185 million at the North American box office over its six-day holiday opening. Now, it says six-day holiday opening because it launched on a Tuesday. Tuesday was its opening day. However, it's not really the opening weekend. So you'll see things like opening weekend box office thrown around there, and it might include a smaller number. But the opening week or weekend is actually it's supposed to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'm recording this video at 4:12, and this article came out at 11 this morning. So it's not a complete weekend. The weekend is not over for the box office for Spider-Man Far From Home. So this isn't even the complete number. You're going to see more numbers coming out from this, but even what we're seeing now is already very, very good for this movie. So let's go ahead and take a look. We have what it says here, an estimated $185 million at the North American box office over its six-day holiday opening. That blew away industry expectations. The film was initially projected to make $125 million from Tuesday through Sunday, which is its opening week, according to Sony, which co-produced the superhero film with Marvel Studios. The film has made, this is amazing right here, this is what I want to talk about, $580 million globally in its first 10 days of release. Now, it's not really a 10-day opening release. It's only been open since Tuesday. So that would be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and part of Sunday. So it's been 6.5 days right now, and as of the making of this article, is 6 days. So that's really impressive. That $580 million globally has been made, and $185 million is projected for the making of this, the raking in of cash for the opening week box office. So that's really, really cool. Now, a lot of it's gonna go ahead and keep reading. So I won't delay too much because we've got a lot to talk about. Spidey's big opening was great news for Hollywood because the summer movie season was in desperate need of a win. June was particularly rough, a rough month at the domestic box office, not worldwide, with multiple sequels, including Men in Black International, which did not do very well, and had some drama behind the scenes, Dark Phoenix, which also did not do very well and had drama behind the scenes, and this shocked me, Toy Story 4 underperforming in recent weeks. So I'm not exactly sure why they're saying it underperformed. I didn't go see Toy Story 4 myself. I was not particularly interested in. I know a lot of my friends went and saw it and loved the film. They said it was really good. But I think maybe a lot of people are like me and they just simply don't care that much about it anymore. So Toy Story 4, kind of sad to hear that it's not doing very well. I'm not particularly interested, but nevertheless, it's being reported here on CNN that it was underperforming in recent weeks. So next we see Spider-Man gave this summer the jolt it needed. Sean Robbins, the chief analyst at boxoffice.com, told CNN Business, Far From Home's ability to win over audiences is further proof that audiences are just looking for good movie sequels and otherwise. Far From Home, which costs $160 million to make, had strong critical reviews and holds a 92% score on review site Rotten Tomatoes, which is current. That's as of the making of this video, which is July 7th, 2019. That it still has 92, and we'll show you that in a second. The film likely had a sizable box office bump thanks to it being the follow-up to Avengers Endgame, which shattered the box office records in April, which is true. And it's I think it did greatly benefit from coming on the back end of all of the MCU. It is the final chapter of the MCU's 22 film run for the first 10 years of Marvel. Technically, I guess you could call it 11, but it's the 10-year mark. So that being said, the big opening for Far From Home solidifies two important things going forward for the superhero genre and Marvel, Robin said. Moviegoers aren't burnt out on Spider-Man, and they aren't burnt out on superhero movies. The Marvel Cinematic Universe clearly has promising life beyond the end of their first era in Endgame, he said. This I completely agree with. After seeing Far From Home, there was, like, going into the film, I was curious whether or not this movie was going to hold water, if it was going to be something that was going to leave us wanting more, if this was going to literally close the door and kind of just say, look, even though there's a few movies on the slate confirmed, we're kind of just going to start to fizzle out and just enjoy the movie making process instead of pumping out billions of movies that have been wildly successful and awesome. But no, this movie franchise is not done. They don't plan to slow down. I think this movie franchise is just getting started, which is shocking because of the amazing journey that we've gone on up until now. It looks like it's just getting started. And I won't say what happens in Far From Home because I'm not talking about that in this video. I'll make another video very shortly about this, probably tonight, if not later this day. So you guys will be able to talk with me about the spoilers and those types of things after this, but let's keep focused here. It is a huge message about the fans, what the fans want when they go see this movie, and they're not burnt out. They're not tired of seeing Spider-Man. They're not tired of even seeing Marvel movies or superhero genre films. This movie is a really good movie. And the critics agree, the fans agree. Everyone's pretty much in agreement that this movie rocks. And it is a movie that everyone should see. It is so great. And the numbers are really showing that. The movie cost $160 million to make. And I believe up here it said it was an estimated $185 million at the North American box office, which is amazing. And then globally, it's already made $580 million, so $20 million shy of $600 million worldwide. It's almost tripled its budget for the film, which is amazing. So it's almost tripled it on its first weekend, and Sunday's not even over. So that's really, really good news. And that number, $580 million, is pretty big for an opening weekend. Obviously, they gave themselves a couple of extra days opening on a Tuesday, but there shouldn't theoretically be a lot of people coming out to the theaters Tuesday through Friday morning. Friday night is when you're going to start to really get that action, and then Saturday all day, and then Sunday again. So this is a big, big number. This is a really big number. I'm really excited for it. I can't wait to see where it goes. And we're going to talk about where I think it's going to go very shortly. So with, let's see, where was I? Down here. Far From Home solidifies. So here we go. The big windfall for Far From Home could help turn things around at the box office for the rest of the summer, and maybe even the rest of the year, according to Robbins. There's plenty of reason to remain bullish on the summer's second half with The Lion King, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Hobbs and Shaw around the corner, he said. A record year may not seem likely at this point in time, but we also shouldn't write off the possibility of a major turnaround with these heavyweight titles and other possible sleepers still on deck. So I think this will be a really good year for the box office in general, but more specifically, what I care about is a lot of the nerd films. I'm probably going to see Hobbs and Shaw. I'll likely go see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I do want to see The Lion King very much. So most of these films I do plan on seeing. But 2 out of 3 of those aren't even really in my wheelhouse of things that I would typically want to go see, talk about, dissect, that kind of thing. So for the most part, I am very excited to go see these movies, but it's really good that Spider-Man Far From Home came out, if you're going to look at box office general numbers, not just superhero stuff, because it's going to pull in a lot for that to stack on top of Endgame's earnings, to stack on top of Captain Marvel, Shazam, lots of great movies that have come out this year. So I'm really excited about that. But now let's keep going, because there's more to talk about here, guys. So this was Spider-Man Homecoming's numbers here. So Spider-Man Homecoming ended at $880.2 million. Now, that might not sound like a lot to you guys, since we're getting used to the big B, the big billion-dollar number. However, if you also look down here, you see Thor Ragnarok made $854 million. It didn't crack $1 billion, but it still did remarkably well. So I think that this is probably $880.2 million, maybe where the domestic number kind of comes in, unless it comes in around like 650. I'm being pretty ambitious here with the 880, but I think that globally, I think Spider-Man Far From Home is going to look a lot better than that, and I'll tell you why. Movies like Black Panther that were released twice in theaters were able to pull in $1.344 billion. Venom on its own made $855 million, which is really good. That's, again, really close to where Homecoming... Actually, I think it beat Homecoming. Hang on, let me just verify. No, it did not. Did not beat Homecoming, but it was close, which is shocking. But also, it came really close to Thor Ragnarok's number, 854, beat it by $1 million, which is really, really cool. Now let's take a look here at Far From Home. So Far From Home, here we have the current domestic total as of July 7th, 2019. The estimate is $185 million, which is really good for an opening weekend. But it's going to look smaller. By Monday, we should be able to see the full result, the actual dollars, not just the estimate. And I think we're going to see something a lot bigger than that. But let's see. Worldwide, we have the number here at $580 million. Now, that's not a lot less than the final result for Homecoming. Homecoming was 880, and Far From Home is 580. That's $300 million less, which is a lot of money. But I do believe that this being its first weekend, I think the second weekend is going to be even stronger. You're going to get a lot of the nerds like myself that are going to go watch this movie a second time, a third time. We want to dissect it. But even more so than the people like the YouTubers of the world, we're going to see a lot of fans watch this movie and, like myself, feel very pleased by what we saw, because it was a really, really good movie that was very true to the comics, very true to the source material, the characters. It made you fall more in love with the characters you met in the first film, in Homecoming. In Far From Home, I was so surprised to walk out of this movie and enjoy it and love it and like it more than even Homecoming, which was one of my top MCU films. I love Homecoming. That's actually why I started this channel, was because after Homecoming came out, I couldn't stop talking about it, and my wife was kind of like, maybe you could make a channel, talk about this thing to someone other than myself, otherwise I'll have to bang my head against a wall. So that was basically what happened. It was just out of necessity. I just was like, oh my gosh, I got to talk about this stuff. So I love Homecoming, but I love Far From Home, and it does such a good job of stacking all the good things about the first movie and growing from that. And I think this number is a result of that. There's a lot of movies out there that don't even crack this number. And we're going to look at some of the Spider-Man movies compared to one another. There's a lot more data down here, but I'm not going to show that because a lot of it is talking about final box office results, and it's going to compare this partial result to final results that have already concluded. And I don't think that's helpful or appropriate, but it's kind of fun sometimes if you're bored. But I'm going to show you guys something a little bit more interesting. So Spider-Man movies at the box office. This is going to show us Spider-Man Far From Home's current number. So it's not going to be complete because it just had its first weekend, and the other numbers are the complete box office run from start to finish. So we're talking months in the theaters, and so we're just gonna see what we're looking at here. Now, from highest to lowest box office dollars for domestic release. So this is just for United States and like I think it might include Canada, but this is going to be Spider-Man #1 with Tobey Maguire. It grossed $403 million in domestic. And then we see Spider-Man 2 with 373, Spider-Man 3 with 336. So Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 with Tobey Maguire are the highest grossing for domestic, which means America, possibly the Canada area as well. So those three take the cake here. But coming in after that is Homecoming. And Homecoming had 334, just 2 million shy of Spider-Man 3 with, Sam Raimi he did his run on Venom, which was weak. But Homecoming's domestic did really, really, really well. Keep in mind that superhero films were not really a proud genre back in the day, but Spider-Man was one of the first quality films to be made in the superhero genre, and that's what kind of spurred on all these other films to just start going with it. X-Men was one of the first, but the better movie, better than X-Men, was Spider-Man because it was a better quality film altogether, not just for superheroes, but as a movie in general. And so Spider-Man did the best. That's to be expected, in my opinion, because it was the first real entry into a nearly untapped market, or a largely disappointed market. People who love comic books, but the movies were not that great. And now Spider-Man was one of the first to turn that around. Spider-Man 2 was also great, but did not get as much appreciation as the first one. And then it just trickles down. So you see Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Homecoming was 4th, The Amazing Spider-Man, and then The Amazing Spider-Man 2, then Into the Spider-Verse. And obviously Far From Home does not have enough numbers to put itself on the ballot in competition because it just opened up. But look at this. It's only $5 million below Into the Spider-Verse, getting ready to put itself on that marker as number 7 and push Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, out. And you might say it's animated, it's not that big a deal. If you didn't see that movie, you're missing out. It's wonderful, and it was great, and it was widely praised and appreciated by the critics and the fans alike. But I do think that with only $15 million to go, I do think that we very well could see the opening weekend box office number for Spider-Man Far From Home knock Amazing Spider-Man 2 out of the park. And by week 2, I would assume that it's probably going to crush The Amazing Spider-Man and put itself right behind Spider-Man Homecoming. I think this movie is going to grow very, very quickly, and I think the first 3 weeks are going to be very, very strong. And after that, we'll see a much bigger depreciation. But I think that it won't have any problem getting close to the Spider-Man Homecoming number, which is immediately after. It's $2 million away from Spider-Man 3. Not that far behind Spider-Man 2. I think it won't have very much trouble catching Spider-Man. So for its all-time record, I think that we're going to see the total gross for this thing pass all of them. I think this is going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie of all time on dollars alone. And so let me just scoot over to the comments really quick. You guys can't see these on your screen, but I'll read them for you. First, we see Hunter Iggy says, the Stuff of Legend show, what is your thoughts on Marvel going woke? I'm actually going to start making some videos in that direction. I haven't really talked about much of that. I have a lot of opinions on these things that I talk about on a separate avenue, a separate medium. I won't talk about that here in this video, but stay tuned because I will be making more and more videos about that, specifically about Disney. Marvel is getting a little bit woke, but I think a lot of it is being trickled down from Disney. So I'm gonna talk, and I don't think that's inherently wrong. There's certain things about it that I think are wrong. So I will talk with you guys about that in better detail in another video. Thank you for the comment. And Jill Savard says, D-Lo, what's up, Jill? Shout out to my main friend, Jill. We went and had lunch today. That was awesome. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't seen Far From Home, you're safe here because I'm not going to talk about details. No spoilers, no talk whatsoever. We're just talking business. We're talking dollars here. So you guys are safe if you haven't seen the movie. So let's keep rolling with this. Adjusted for ticket price inflation, I'm not as interested as that because it's literally the exact same pattern. So if you adjust for ticket price inflation, again, it has been approximately 19 years from the first one of these till now, but nevertheless, or it's been less than that, 17 years. However, I do think that it's not that big of a deal or that too great of a difference, because I still think that Far From Home will pass all of these. I think it'll pass all these movies. I think it's going to land somewhere around Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1 numbers, and I think it'll be able to beat Spider-Man 1. In fact, I estimate that it'll probably land somewhere around 6, and I would be pleasantly surprised to see it past that. So with the worldwide, this is what I wanted to show you guys. So differing from the domestic, where it goes Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Homecoming, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Into the Spider-Verse, and Spider-Man Far From Home, which is still ongoing because it just started. We also have a very different lineup here, which is shocking to me, because the highest grossing worldwide box office number happens to be Spider-Man 3, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3 with the Venom that nobody liked. So this one made $890.9 million worldwide. I think this is shocking, because I did not know this fact before I pulled this up to do my research for the video. However, that one made the biggest, which means that America might have been more critically minded and said, you know what, we'll watch the first Spider-Man, get the hype. Second one, oh, no one's a fan of sequels, so it kind of dipped out a little bit. And then the third one comes out, and America is still kind of going downward, so it trickled from Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. Domestically, the whole world as a whole was saying, nope, Spider-Man it's going up and up and up. A little bit, you see a little bit of fluctuation here, because it goes Spider-Man 3 as number 1, followed immediately by Spider-Man 2 by just shy by $10 million. Not a lot of money for a box office difference. So $10 million was the difference between Homecoming and Spider-Man 3. Amazing. And then considering that that's not only a reboot, but it's the second reboot in the franchise, and it was its first film, it did not involve Uncle Ben. It involved a different hero kind of piggybacking into the film, which a lot of people saw as a negative for the film, a negative aspect. However, I greatly appreciated a lot of people that saw it actually did like the dynamic there. And the difference, the change between the original, because we already know his backstory with Uncle Ben. We don't need to keep seeing that again. It's not like a Batman franchise where you have to tell the story over and over and over. So in this scenario, Spider-Man 3, Homecoming, the first Spider-Man, but at 820, coming in at $60 million less, or 59 rather. And then Spider-Man 2, below that by a good margin, $783 million. The Amazing Spider-Man, $757 million, followed by Amazing Spider-Man 2. And then this is where it gets interesting. Far From Home has already greatly exceeded the worldwide box office for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So like I said, I thought that it could be very, very, very possible. We will see by the end of today, or rather by tomorrow when the numbers get calculated and we see those start to pop up in news articles online tomorrow. The box office for Spider-Man Far From Home is estimated at 185 right now. I believe it'll probably pull in around 190 or higher, and that's going to push the actual record closer to this result, where Far From Home is already, after one opening weekend, higher than Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse's entire global run. So like that to me is what I think we're looking at, because Far From Home worldwide is already $580.1 million. That's huge. So if we're talking about the final run, I don't think any of these other films had a run like this. I would love to look into those numbers, but this video it'll get pretty long if I have to keep digging into those things. However, man, I believe that Spider-Man Far From Home will be a billion-dollar movie. It won't need to be re-released twice like Black Panther was. Black Panther came in at $1.344 billion, and after it was done in its theatrical run, they re-released it again for Black History Month, which I've got no problem with. I don't think that's bad. People are like, oh, it's a money grab. Yeah, yes it is. But making movies is a money grab too. All of it is. It's a business. So I'm not mad by that. I think you know what you're getting into when you pay for a video to watch a movie in a theater seat. You know what you're getting into when you buy it on DVD. The difference being that you get to keep the movie and you have ownership over that movie. But nevertheless, we understand, moviegoers, we know what we're getting into. It's a money grab, yeah, but it still crossed $1.344 billion, just like Avatar re-released into theaters for over a year. It stayed in the theaters for 66 weeks. 52 weeks are a year. 66 weeks is more than a year. So it stayed in theaters for over a year to get the all-time box office record. And the world goes nuts when Avengers is like, we're going to keep it in theaters and give you more content. And people weren't happy with that. So it's mind-boggling me. But nevertheless, what do you guys think about this comparison? I mean, worldwide unadjusted is it's a little bit different. Obviously, the Amazing Spider-Man films are still down towards the bottom, with Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse being the lowest ticket that it has a completed run. And Spider-Man Far From Home, on both charts not being finished, is looking like it's about to crush most of these records, and very well could surpass most all of them. I think that Spider-Man Far From Home's domestic release after completion will be around $600 million, and worldwide could be easily over $1 billion. So that's my thoughts there, and I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. So you guys make sure to hit me up in the comments and let me know what you guys think about this box office business. I put the links to the CNN article and these two box office Mojo articles down in the description below, so you guys can check those out as well. I want to make sure you guys are equipped to do your research so you guys know exactly what I'm looking at. And maybe by the time that you guys click on these links, the box office Mojo pages will have updated and you'll see more accurate results. And maybe this video will date well and I'll be correct. Maybe it won't. You guys can let me know that I was wrong. So I can't wait to hear from you guys on that. Anyways, let me see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys stopping in and listening to me rant about what I think is going to happen with Far From Home. Again, I'm going to be making a Far From Home video discussing what I thought about the movie, the things that I liked, the things that I didn't like, the things that may have been confusing that I'd like to explain for you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys liking, sharing, subscribing, everything that you guys do to be engaged in this project, in this video, and this channel. It means a lot to me. So anyways, you guys rock. Let me go through the ending again. So you guys, if you like this video, make sure to click the thumbs up button to show me that you like this video. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and please turn on notifications so you can be alerted right away when I go live next time. That way you guys will not miss a single thing. And if you guys want to know, if you guys want me to make a video that you have not seen me do, or if there's a topic I haven't discussed, you want to get my opinion on something, let me know in the comments like Hunter Iggy did. I'm going to make a video about Marvel getting woke, Disney going woke, things like that. I want to commune with you guys, and we can have these conversations together in a civil way, civil dialogue. I want to be part of that conversation with you guys. So anyways, thanks guys. Go see Far From Home if you haven't. It's amazing. It really is my favorite, the best Spider-Man movie of all time, in my humble opinion. And I really liked all of them. I like all of them in different ways, but it truly is. Far From Home, to me, it hit the sweet spot. I really like what they did there, and I can't wait to tell you why. So stay tuned for more right here on The Stuff of Legend.